if I traded it all.
Welcome to the show, everyone. As all of you know, I made it possible for you guys to talk about yourself on the radio. We're live on Facebook, so I want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us, follow us. We're going to be having some fun after the show and sharing it with everybody. But I want to go right in with networking, which I love to do on my show, which that's why it's called Networking Arizona, with all of you people out there. I have with me Peter Morris. He's with Fairway Independent Mortgage. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I know that you also had your own radio show years ago. Welcome to this show, and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Carol, for having me here. I work with Fairway Independent Mortgage. I'm a certified reverse mortgage planner. I've been in the business 25 years, originally from Massachusetts, if you can't tell by my
I can
accent.
tell. So, okay, there's a lot going on in the mortgage world today, and especially with reverse mortgages, okay? Will you please kind of tell us what's going on? Because there was a lot of bad thoughts about them years and years, well, for a long time, but now they're different.
Yeah, they're a lot different. I mean, years ago, it's not as good of a program as it is today. It's been refined. It's an FHA loan today, which it wasn't years ago. There was recourse years ago. There is no recourse today. You can't take all the equity out of property today, which you could have years ago, and that's why a lot of people got upside down in their properties. So.
Right. There's a lot going on, and we get to talk about, I want to talk a little bit about you and your background a little bit.
Okay.
So tell us about yourself and what makes you an expert.
What makes me an expert? Well, like I said, I've been in the business 25 years. I've seen just about everything that you could possibly see in the mortgage business. And now at my age, I like working with seniors. I'm pretty much a senior myself now. So I just love working with seniors and helping them out.
Right. Now, and they need to understand it. I think that's the key, is they need to understand it. And there's a lot of qualifications. So let's first talk about how they qualify.
Okay. First of all, you have to be 62. Well, the youngest borrower can be less than 62, but then they're a non-borrowing spouse. So we'd like to have at least one borrower 62 years old to qualify.
Okay, so that's it? They only have to be one? Do they have to have, they live in their primary,
Yes.
and go through everything that they need to?
Okay. Yep, you have to be at least 62 years old. It has to be primary residence, so you have to live there at least 6 months a year. Okay. Single family home, 1 to 2 units, and if it's a condo, it has to be FHA approved. And if it's not FHA approved, we can do a spot condo approval on them. Because it is an FHA loan, they would have to be FHA approved.
Well, one thing I know for sure is that there has been quite a bit of controversy about them, and that's why I like people that talk about them. I know that my dad had one. He ended up needing it, and I think that people need to understand that today they are a tool. For some people, and they're not right for everyone, but the first thing they need to do is have a conversation with someone like you. You said you've been doing this how long?
25 years.
So 25 years in the business. We're going to talk a little bit more about how they qualify.
Sure.
His phone number direct, it's 480-625-8183. He does free consultations. He works valley-wide. His website is fairwaymtgpro.com. So fairwaymtgpro.com. Okay, so let's talk about credit. I think a lot of people worry about that.
The good thing about it is we look at your credit, but credit really doesn't come into play as it would be on a regular conventional loan, where if your scores are under a certain amount, you don't qualify for a loan. On the reverse side, we only look at your credit to determine how you would qualify. Income is very low as well. So for people that can't necessarily get a mortgage on the forward side because of credit, we do not look at that. So you could have literally credit in the 400s and still qualify. Yeah.
Wow. So that doesn't really come into play.
It does not.
So what is it that's the most important thing? Your age?
Yes, at least 62.
So that's it. And I like I said, my dad had one, and I have to be honest with you, this was so long ago, and now they're better, know?
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 steps that you have to go through today that you didn't have to go years ago. Counseling is a huge step in the process because it's an FHA loan. You're required to go through counseling. So once I sit with you, I would create a proposal. In that proposal, there'll be a number on it for you to call. You'll call the counselor, you'll give them the number, and he'll actually pull up, or she will pull up, the actual proposal that you're looking at, so they can look at exactly what you have in front of them. And they'll counsel you through the thing to make sure that how I've explained it is how they're going to explain it, and you understand it 100%. And once you go through that, then you're assigned a FHA case number, and from there we can go to an application. So it's not something that's happens right away, and it can happen within 1 or 2 days, so it's not a drawn-out process. But we want to make sure today that you totally understand everything that you're getting into, because years ago, a lot of seniors said they did not understand what was going on.
And they want you to understand, and so does he. And he's been doing this for 25 years. The phone number to call him is 480-625-8183. He does free consultations. He's valley-wide. It's Fairway, mtgpro.com. When you had your own radio show years ago, did you talk about mortgages? What was it all about?
I did. Yeah, I had a mortgage every Wednesday, I believe it was. We talked for a half hour on pretty much anything in the mortgage business.
Right.
We'd have, people would call in prior to, and then so I'd set a segment up for the next week.
And I also think it's good for people. Maybe you have one too, because I think a lot of people that listen to this show they're baby boomers, and they're people that maybe their father or mother might need one, or they themselves. Being able to ask questions, and getting a little bit of advice from someone that has been doing it for 25 years. And that's what he's here for. So what is the difference, let's say old versus new? There's a lot of differences between what was and what is now. So what are some of them again?
Okay, so years ago you could take 100% of the equity out of your property. So if the market turned upside down 1, 2, 3, 5%, whatever, now you're upside down in your property. Today you can't do that. You can only take out between 30 to 74%, and it's based on your age. And we use a life expectancy of 99 years old, so that's how we calculate out. So the older you are, the more that you get to take out. The younger you are, the less you get to take out. So we want to make sure that you're never going to be upside down in your property.
Right.
That's one of the biggest qualifications as far as that goes. There's a line of credit today, which there wasn't years ago, and you can take it out in 3 forms. You can do a line of credit, you can do a 10-year payment, or a 10-year payment. So you could request, I'd like to get X amount of dollars for the next 10 years, every single month, or I'd like to get X amount of dollars for the rest of my life, as well as an equity line. So for an example, if your house is worth $200,000 based on your age, you could take out $100,000. We would give you the $100,000. And then depending on how you wanted to take it out in different payments, we would reduce the amount that you'd have in your line.
So, but people need to understand what they're doing with that. That's where the key is right there.
Correct. And what they used to be able to do is 3 days after the closing, because it is technically a refinance, so there's a rescission period in that. They used to take all the money out. So say you were going to get $100,000, you could take it all out. Today we don't give you the 100 all at once. We'd give you 60% the first year and 40% to do whatever you want.
It's better off, guys. It's better off not to have it all at one time, because you just might spend it.
Well, and that's what happens. The dust clears and you have no more money. So this way here, you kind of spread it out.
Right, and that's what they want to do, is make sure that it's safe and right for you. And the only way that you know is by having a consultation.
Correct.
That's what it starts. Everybody has their own story, and I think that's huge with people.
They do.
And so that you're going to have a story that you want to talk about. Well, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit further about some of these and some of the stories. I want people to understand that, it's not for everyone. We know that. We totally know that. But the only way that you know is by finding out. And the only way you're going to find out is by having a consultation. Peter's been doing this for 25 years, and he's had his own radio show talking about it. Maybe he'll have one here again someday. You could check him out on his website. It's Fairway, mtgpro.com. He does free consultations. He works valley-wide, and his phone number direct, it's 480-625-8183. So again, 480-625-8183. And again, people need to think about these things. Don't just turn it off. There's a lot. I know we're going to come back and talk about some of the things that benefits for people. There's all sorts of things with your financial your retirement that it works for. There's also people getting married, divorced, and it works for that too. There's a lot of stuff, guys. Hang tight. We're going to be back in just a minute. Check him out. It's Fairway, mtgpro.com.
but traded it all.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Peter Morris, and he's with Fairway Independent Mortgage, and we are talking reverse mortgages. You're an expert in it. You've been doing this for 25 years, and these things have changed quite drastically. There are things that people need to think about and hear about and decide whether they're right or wrong for you. You cannot turn around and just go, oh, I don't want one of those. You really need to hear about them because they're quite different than they were years ago. Peter, before when we were at a break, we were talking a little bit about some of the different advantages that they have and the benefits for people. What's what's one of them that you might want to talk about?
Well, one of the big things is no more recourse. Years ago, there was recourse. So if you were upside down in your property and your heirs did sell the property, if there was any money left in the estate, they would be responsible to pay the shortage. Today, that is not the case anymore. So even if you were upside down, which the likelihood would be slim, there is no more recourse on that, which is a really good thing for the heirs. Another good thing is if once they pass away, the heirs get to buy the house. They have first option to buy the house at 95% of the appraised value or the loan balance, whichever is lower. So that's another really good positive thing. One of the things I do want to say is one of the other big differences is if you're a non-borrowing spouse. Now, being a non-borrowing spouse would be somebody that would be under 62. They would not be able to be on the loan because they're not under 62. Years ago, if the borrowing spouse was to pass away, the non-borrowing spouse had to sell and get out of the house. Today, that is not the case. The non-borrowing spouse can live in the house the rest of his or her life after the case, and that's another huge positive.
That's changed quite. That's really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that need to know that. So, again, these are things that when you hear these, what I love about my show, and I think I say it every show, is that, this is information for you guys out there. That's it. And you do with it what you want, but what's cool is you can call and get some information. He does free consultations with everybody, and you got to find out whether it's right or wrong for you. With all of the people that you hear, there are things that maybe you're listening to. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone that you know that might need it. Your parents. Listen, I didn't know that my dad needed it, and he didn't know either until he realized, his wife who passed, my mom, she that Social Security check wasn't coming in anymore, right?
Correct.
And that was huge. And he didn't know, and he got worried, and through his financial advisor, they all spoke about it, and it turned out to be the right thing. And that's why I want people to understand that these are tools for people today.
Well, and a lot of people don't save for long-term health care. If staying home health care as well. Like my mother was ill. She's recently passed, but it was costing my father $3,000 a week to keep my mother in the house. He didn't want to have her go into a home. He wanted her to, stay there the rest of her life. And a lot of people don't save for that. And that's one good thing that you could use this for, to keep an heir in the house.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of things. You talked a little bit about retirement. We said that for a minute there. So you can enjoy your life. You got to be careful. You don't want to be crazy, but what can you do with that?
Well, there's a lot of good things. I mean, you can prolong Social Security. So instead of taking out at 62, you could take it out at 65. That will give you more money a month when you do retire. A lot of people go on vacations with them. There's just so many things you can do. There's $9 trillion in equity in people's homes today that are untapped. And I do believe that in years to come, that is going to be a huge source of retirement.
So you could check him out on his website. It's fairwaymtgpro.com. He does free consultations. He works valley-wide. His phone number direct, it's 480-625-8131. I said it wrong again. So it's let me do it again, guys. It's 480-625-8183. So give him a call and talk to him and see where do you fit in with this? And the only way is tell him your story. Everyone's got a story, and that's where you have to start. Is that correct?
That's correct. I say, like in the mortgage business, it's like snowflakes. There are never two that are alike. So there's never two people in any situation ever that's going to be alike.
I think I remember you saying that to me once before. They don't. Everybody's got a different story. And I think more than everything, I want you to tell them, how do you work with them? Do you go to them? Do they come to you? How does it work?
I go to them.
Okay, so you go valley-wide to them.
Yep. I'm actually licensed in several states, and I do travel to those states, believe it or not, because it's so important that you sit down with them, because I really believe they have to understand what they're doing. And if they don't understand what they're doing, it can possibly not be the right program.
Right, and the only thing you need to do is to talk to him to find out whether or not this is right. But most people, I think, today are finding out. And I know many people who will have, let's say they've talked about they have them. They love that they have them. And yeah, they're for you as the liver, the one that's living right now. But that's something important. You need to think about that. And now they've made it so much better for the heirs that it almost makes sense. We had no problem whatsoever. And this was years and years ago. So it's all how you handle it and what you do with it. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about more things. Free money. What about this tax-free money? Let's talk about that.
Well, again, it's tax-free money. So if you need to use it, you can take it out. You can actually pay it back whenever you want to. And it eliminates your mortgage payment every month, but you can make your payment every month if you would like to do that too. I had a borrower that did that. Any money that you do take out is tax-free, and the taxes are not due until you die.
And so when you pass away, that's when that takes care of, the heirs take care of that.
Correct.
And if you have it there and you use it wisely, just like anything else, it'll be there and it will be no problem.
That's exactly.
Is that correct?
Right. That's correct.
So again, will you explain how when they work with you, how you have them go? Not you. It's a law that they now go through counseling.
Yes, everybody
so tell
has
them about
to go
that
through
again.
counseling. So again, I'll get some just some brief information about you. I'll put it into my software. It'll actually calculate out how much you can borrow based on your age of the youngest borrower, and then I produce a proposal for you, and I'll go through the whole proposal. I'll leave you a bunch of booklets to read, and then with that, like I said, you'll get a counseling number. There'll probably be 20 different numbers, and you can call anyone. I cannot tell you who to call. You call, they'll go over it with you, just to make sure that you do understand it again, and then we will get into an application.
Now, you have something here. It says never owe more than the house is worth.
That's
What's that
correct.
about? I like that. That kind of popped out at me.
Well, you never will owe more than your house is worth. If your house appreciates in value, like it should, I'm sorry. I was getting really comfortable here.
Me too.
If your home appreciates in value like it normally would, you would never be upside down in your house. You'll never owe more than your house is worth, I should say, because again, we're only going to give you between 30 and 74%. So it should continue to grow, so you will never be upside down.
Now, some people want to either upsize or downsize or relocate. Let's talk about that.
Okay, well, one good thing today is now there's a purchase option where there never was years ago. So you could actually purchase a home. It's great for people that want to upsize, downsize, or actually move closer to grandchildren, family members. So it allows you to buy a house through that now today as well.
When you've been doing this for a long time, and now these changes that have happened, I think it's the last few years or whatever, when you talk to people, how many more do it as opposed to not? Do you find that now you're like, wow, there are a lot of people now that are doing it because they see the value? Go ahead.
I do, and the first thing I do when I sit down with people is, what have you heard about it and what don't you like about it? Because if you don't get that negativity out, they don't even listen to you. So, once you start talking to them, they actually see what the benefits are. So there is a lot still of negativity, but it is a great program. You should at least sit down with somebody and listen to what the program is all about today, because it has changed drastically over the years. Like I said, I would have never wrote one years and years and years ago. Today, that's all I do.
That's all you do. So again, you can check him out on his website. It's fairwaymtgpro.com, or call him 480-625-8183. And he does free consultations with everyone. He comes to you and he talks to you about your story and what's going on. And you can find out whether it's right for you or not. He's valley-wide, and I believe wholeheartedly that everybody should take a look at it. It's a different it's a different piece of, I don't remember what you call it, but it's something that they should all have as like in their tool belt.
Correct.
To be able to use in your retirement, and what about for people who are, have, like you said, you have a story that you wanted to talk about. I have 2 minutes and I'm going on. You tell the story.
Well, the story is it's on the purchase side. And I had a woman that was looking to buy a home, did not qualify on the forward side. So her Social Security was only $1,280 a month, and her total payment was going to be $1,250. Nowhere in the forward world would she have qualified. On the reverse world, because we take out your principal and interest payment, because you are not paying for that, your home is, so now I can take that out of your qualification. Take out the $700, she qualified easily to buy that home, which she never would have been able to on the forward side.
And how old was she?
She was 88 years old.
And she's buying a house at 88. God bless her.
In a nice golf community. So
well, of
she
course.
Went from renting.
She's going to live another 20 years.
She is.
And again, you everything is based on your age, right? And there are a lot of people that are using them for many different reasons. Some of them are doing it for financial reasons. A lot of people are using them I know somebody who is listening to someone talking about it, and they said, I'm married to somebody who's that age. Can I get in on that? And they said yes. Is that true?
That is correct.
So it doesn't really matter. What would be your final words for today?
It's a great program for seniors to enjoy the rest of their lives, and that's what my tagline is.
Say it again.
I like helping seniors enjoy the rest of their lives.
Again, that phone number to call him direct. He comes to you. He's valley-wide, and he does a free consultation. It's 480-625-8183. You can check him out on his website. It's fairwaymtgpro.com, or call him at 480-625-8183.